So cross-sells and bundles. We heard one discussion about content matrix, and we'll just kind of go down. So the most natural bundle of products here, especially with the new release of, thanks to Mr. Steve over here, of version 5.0 of storage point and backup, is going to be storage point and backup. The maximum value of being able to get performance out of the system, in terms of speed of backup for users and stuff, is going to come from that. This is one, now that they're tightly integrated together and we have a real strong story and we've changed some of the underlying architectural approach to how we do backups and stuff, they're going to see such a huge performance gain over almost anything else that they're doing. Okay, until you get into the high availability range where it's much more expensive. Most organizations aren't stepping up to that dollar amount. So short of that, this becomes a great natural thing for them to sell because you can articulate the value on it, and it's one that they'll it's pretty easy to understand. I put a couple of numbers in there just so you have a feel. So storage point and content matrix is a very good bundle, and out of all the storage point deals, 15% of them were bundled just with content matrix. Okay, so that's, 1 in 7 opportunities are being driven off of, most likely, these migration opportunities. So there's a good chance to get storage point bundled into those scenarios because there is a lot of value, as Trevor was getting into. Control points, still pretty strong in there as well. 7% of the deals for storage point were bundled right to control point. So you have some opportunities to be selling these products in there because customers, in re-architecting, with content matrix and preparing for that new deployment, huge value there. Trevor, on storage point and control point, do you have some analogies that you might be able to bring to life about why that bundle would be?
Yeah. So some of that integration today is manual, but it's, as we talked about, product integration as being a big focus on the roadmap. Control point has some great reports around how frequently content's been accessed, right? So control point doing a lot of that auditing and bringing visibility to how frequently content's being accessed. There's a nice connection between, hey, here's a bunch of stuff that has been accessed, so in storage point, let's create a archiving policy that moves it off to a secondary storage location. So longer term, we're working towards tighter integration where control point would actually, from the report, trigger that level of integration or that archiving job to happen automatically if, of course, storage point's installed. But today, it's fairly manual. Steve, I don't know if you look like you had something to add.
No, I mean, it is manual, but it's not very difficult to set up or to demo. It's a control points, again, that peeling back the onion. Okay, I found a date that I can now say I want to archive from this date on back. And then you can go to storage point, create that archiving rule, plug in that date, and then set it and forget it, and never have to look at it again.
If you want to think about breaking these two things up, control point is about the intel, the insight into what's going on. Storage isn't about physically executing what insights you see and moving the content to appropriate places.
I mean, storage control point, we looked at it yesterday. I didn't show it to you, but much like most and least activity, what's being clicked on the most, which we keep talking about, and what's being clicked on the least for what we don't have to necessarily migrate, we have the same exact reports on storage. Storage, you can get a report that tells you your largest items and how large they are and where they are throughout your SharePoint farm. And if they said admin doesn't know that somebody's uploading this content, like why the heck is somebody uploading all these images? I had no idea. And control point can tell you exactly where they are, how many, and how large they are. So you can organize it very similarly to usage. You can organize your storage reports to show you where your larger content is.
So those are the main bundle opportunities. But there's a couple other things. Don't forget about them. These are easy dollars to go after. One is, if they already own storage points, go sell them more storage point. Okay. We now have something that has recently been integrated together so that the information from the licensing manager is now been pulled up and synchronized with Salesforce.com. So you can actually go out there and look by client to see how much storage they're using and know when it's appropriate to say, hey, you know what, I can see your growth patterns here. Let's preemptively get you another 2 terabytes, okay? So it becomes very easy for you to see who's primed in your territory for an upgrade and go sell them on that. Usually if they're seeing the growth, they've already bought the product, they're going to continue to make those investments. Second thing is, if they own backup, make sure you sell them StoragePoint too. It's not as frequent of a scenario, one, because backup is a fairly new product, but if they own it and they didn't buy StoragePoint the first time around, now that they're integrated and we have this real tight story, go back and sell it. Okay, the value proposition is one that it becomes a lot easier to communicate, and now that they're already seeing some of the value from backup, when you can say, hey, we can take all of the externalized content and bring that into your backup process in a single place, a single job. You can push a button, fire and forget, and all of that externalized content now is part of that backup. Boy, their life just got a whole lot easier. Okay. Right now, those are 2 separate processes, or historically those have been. But now that these 2 products being integrated, that creates just a single thing, basically push button simplicity.